「座りと分かっ Oh, hey there, guys. You hear me okay? I hope so. Sorry I had to pin that one, Don. It was a good one. It was a good one. I just changed the thumbnail. Normally I put like a more appropriate thumbnail, but I forgot to do it in time, but I just updated it, so on the channel it should show up correctly. All right. But thanks for that comment, Don. It's good stuff. Okie doke. Really quick updates on myself. For those that give a shit, that I would expect anybody to, but sometimes people are curious. See here. Mental health stuff's pretty good, pretty even keeled at the moment. Doing pretty damn well, considering me. Just my normal low-grade depression, not too bad, pretty good. Been feeling pretty inspired for a couple of reasons, in different avenues and different apartments. Let's see here. Medically, I've been mostly okay. I think I'm 41 now, so I don't know if I mentioned that last stream or what. How long ago was that? I don't even remember. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Whatever. I'm 41 now. I was on the 18th though. Oh, no problem with the pen. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm an old fart, and it just seems like the older I get, the more embittered and like a crotchety old man I become. I guarantee you, if I'm still doing streams when I'm like in my 60s, if I'm alive, if you know the old heart doesn't fail on me or something, I will be a crotchety, angry old man. So that I don't think will ever change. At least I hope. Maybe I'll get angrier, which would be cool. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I've been having like weird, intestinal issues of some kind, so I'm getting taken care of that. If you guys ever had with any kind of intestinal stuff, it's like the worst, man. It's the worst. It's like your body reminded you it's there. I'm here, now feel my pain. It's like, it squeezes your fucking intestines. So I'm hoping it's nothing like some kind of IBS situation or something. Because, shit tends to prop up as you get older, so. But I tend to have pretty good on the things I'm supposed to have for that stuff, so I don't know. We'll see. Won't be updating you on the gruesome details of that one. All right, let me move on. So, oh yeah, and everyone does this at the beginning. Do people do this at the beginning or the end? Oh, whatever. I'll just do it at the beginning and then once at the end or whatever. If you end up liking the stream, if you like the stuff I do, blah, 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 hit the like button, blah, 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 sub, blah, blah, blah. You know what could help too is I noticed that a lot of the people that watch my stuff, I don't think they have YouTube accounts. So if you could make one, that would be cool. Even if it's just to be able to like comment and like and stuff on this channel, because that could help with the stupid algo. Just watching it with no account, it doesn't really help as much. Happy birthday. I just read Don's message. Well, yeah, anyway, if you like it, please like, sub, spread the word with it. Post links on the Schizoid Reddit or some Facebook groups, or if you're like from a different country and there's like a Facebook group for schizoids in like Russia or something, if they speak English, post the link to my streams, post the link to the server if you think it'd be something useful to somebody else that's dealing with this stuff. Of course, we have a vetting process for the server, so not everyone that applies can get into the schizoid portions, but everyone can get into the annex portions, where it's the part where if you think you might be, you have certain issues, or you have questions about schizoid stuff, you can go there and the Zoid's on there. If they feel like it, can answer it, do whatever they want with that information. And outside of that, if you like everything else, Patreon, PayPal, all that kind of shit is helpful. All right, moving on. Already lost 2 people just because I went on too much there, which is fine. So I want to talk about separating, as you saw in the title, the schizoid from the person. Now, this is something I probably would have had like more trouble with, definitely in my 20s and such. But as I got older, it became a little bit easier. But before, I didn't really have the identifier or label, right? I was just living the Zoid life. It wasn't until much later, into my late 30s, that I started finding out more about the label and what it is and everything else, right? It's funny too, because I always had such a fascination with everything from psychology, sociology to whatever else, but I don't know, it just never stumbled across it. And then I did a few years ago, and where we're at now, right? So in any case, one thing I've noticed, especially with you, some of the youngins, when they find this, it's probably like one of the first things that they found on the internet that they were able to like go, oh shit, that's me. That's what I'm dealing with in many ways. And then for the ones that go beyond just kind of the diagnostic or the superficial, and they talk to other schizoids, then they really resonate. Or maybe when some of them have said that when they listen to me, there's a few comments before that have said stuff like, stop calling me out, or somebody said something like, stop saying, they watched some video and they said something like, stop saying what I'm doing as I'm doing it, or something like that, which I found funny. But stuff resonating with you like that, that's good. And for a lot of schizoids, that might be like one of the big first things, or one of the few things where you heard stuff and you were like, oh shit, that's me, for real, crazy. Actually, like, that's like not something I can say about a lot, especially not with like real people, maybe like fictional characters or something, or ideas or concepts and stuff. Like, you might really identify with some type of philosophy, you might not really identify with just people. And so once you find people that you can kind of connect to, at least on that sense that, oh, I'm not the only one, sometimes a certain problem happens, a certain thing occurs. And I've seen it happen where a schizoid, like a person that finds out about this, right, they'll like wrap themselves around this idea of being a schizoid, right? They'll wrap themselves around it because it's one of the few things that ever felt like anything that made sense as to who they are, right? And then it sometimes becomes a problem, right? It becomes, I'm a Zoid. And so a lot of the aspects, a lot of the, the apathy, the aloofness, the disconnect, and, I don't have to re-explain it to the ones that know. It becomes like, oh, well, this is how it will always be. And there are others like that will always be this way. And this is who I am. I am a schizoid, right? And again, I understand why that would happen, considering that like most other identifiable labels or whatever never clicked, never worked, whether it was politics or social things or careers or jobs or whatever words, the various words that people describe themselves for. You finally found one, a very few that you connected to. And then you latch onto it a little bit too hard. And then you start finding other people doing this. And because everyone feels kind of like, okay, well, we're all kind of accepting about what and who we are, they get into these like very comfortable, weird ruts. Comfortable is a very strong word. And so oftentimes I'll see Zoids sort of reinforce their like the sort of more negative aspects of their existence with, sometimes it's humor, which is fine. But other times it's like, oh yeah, it's always going to be like this, right? And then the other one's like, yep, this is always how it is. Always forever. Sisyphus forever. Right? And I get where they're coming from. Absolutely. And enjoy the humor quite a bit. But I think some people take this stuff to heart. And they truly believe that the way to achieve some sense of meaning or where peaceful resignation is to just kind of accept, oh, I'm a schizoid and this is how it is and it's never going to change, this sort of stuff, right? Well, I think the first, I use it more casually, but I think the first mistake is saying I am a schizoid, right? Which, if you say it because you're saying, oh, I have certain maladaptations, I have what is considered to be a personality disorder, I have, you know what I mean, like that, okay, fine, that makes sense to me. That's realistic. That's what, if that's what you mean by I am a schizoid, yes. Just like if somebody says I am an autist, and they actually have some kind of high functioning autism, yes, yes they are, but it's not all you are. And I know that's hard to sometimes parse out because it's already so hard to identify who and what you are anyway to begin with, right? Don, the moment came for me 2.5 years ago with a video on mind mastery after 3 years in crisis hell, trying to figure out on my own, game changer, but the map is not the terrain. This group is full of criminal psychologists and shady agencies secretly profiling us, creating dossiers. Oh man, always welcome active research. And so, oh, hold on, let me check my secret dossiers. I want to double check a few things. But they'll like I said, they'll latch onto it, and then they'll kind of make that their sort of thing. Right? If you say, I was going to differentiate, but I don't remember if I said it right. If you say I'm a schizoid because you're saying I have this thing, I deal with these issues, I'm managing these issues. Okay, that's fine. Say I'm a schizoid. That's fine. But don't say it in a way that like it's what you are, who you are. Okay. And there's also a lot of problems with schizoids themselves that have, when I say schizoid, that's what I mean. The not the latter, but the former. Right? What former? The latter. No, the former. Which is, it's a way of identifying you have these set of issues and so on. And you deal with certain symptoms and whatever. They'll have trouble trying to like figure out what's them and what's the issue. Maybe it's not an issue, maybe it's just who I am and all this sort of stuff, right? The active is fun. I'm separated from the person, chat. There we go. And so the first step to, I think, sort of identifying who you are, for a lot of schizoids, I think, is finding out you have these schizoid issues, right? That's step one. That's not the end, right? That's not, oh, I found the thing. That's the thing. That's all I'll ever be. Don't fall into that trap, because it's an easy trap to fall into. I've seen a lot of zoids fall into it, and I can't even begrudge them for doing so. Okay? When you know about these issues, Paxil SSR killing me. Okay. Could be identity crisis, perhaps. It's so that you know how to start navigating your internal workings so that you can start figuring out, who the fuck am I? Like, after years of feeling like, I don't, like, what the fuck, who the fuck am I, right? You can now identify, oh, the reason I essentially feel as if I didn't establish a more, like, sense of self that could interact with the external world is because of these issues. They came about due to trauma and various other things I've discussed a bunch of times, right? It's locating, detecting, triangulating around what you can now identify. Then you start working, almost reverse engineering it and figuring out, okay, now that I know why so many pieces felt like they're missing, why there's this big void, why there's this kind of like all these issues, I can now start going, okay, well, now I know, so I'll work on that problem because there's actually a person there. There is a person there. It's just I have a lot of trouble establishing what that person is, especially that person that could interact with the external world in a way that makes sense, right? And if you, of course, if you tie in other issues like personalization, dissociation, other stuff like that, it's going to make it extra tough, right? Of course. I'm not going to say everyone's battle is the same battle. I have a big philosophical crisis right now to separate this all, though. Just saying. That's fair. And so, for myself, I guess I'll explain my thing, right? It was always sort of like that. And in recent years, I've been able to, like, identify who I am, what I'm about, what I want my life to be about, what matters to me. Not what just matters or doesn't matter on a philosophical level. Also, what matters to me as an individual person, right? And you have to start experimenting with those thoughts, those sorts of things, once you've identified what is keeping you from doing so. And in the case of the Zoids, is a lot of these maladaptations, adaptations, whatever you want to call them. This kind of splitting we do when it comes to like concepts, ideas, groups of humanity as a whole, you know, locations, environments. Zoids be split pretty hard when it comes to stuff like that. The only difference is we usually don't get like angry or emotional or aggressive. We just leave. We just pack our things and go. And hope nobody noticed we were there to begin, right? And so, just because it isn't like a big dramatic thing, it doesn't mean you're not still doing this sort of splitting process of situations and things. So, now that you identified, oh, I have these schizoid issues, how is it that these schizoid issues misidentify or misconstrue environments and situations? How is it that my highly sensitive sense of autonomy can make me averse to things that could actually be ego-syntonic, right? Are there things in my life, or things that I haven't even searched for, that are available in the world that I'm already assuming wouldn't work, I'm already assuming have nothing to do with me, and have not tried again since being able to identify what the issue is and working on it in various ways, whether it's the relatability of talking to other people that have the issue, whether it's just listening to me talk about it and my experiences, seeing the chat, whatever it is, whether it's doing some DIY, I guess a DIY therapy in many ways, because there isn't a lot out there that you can really get for those specific issues. It's a tough one, right? But maybe you can do some therapy for your anxiety or for some of the aspects of your depression. Maybe you've never tried medication and maybe it's something that could work. Maybe you tried one medication and it totally sucked. And so then you split on that shit and just said pharmaceutical stuff is just to scramble your brains and destroy your imagination. And some medication will make you feel like that. That's why you don't take that one. You take the one that doesn't do that. Right? But anyway, point is, if you're diagnosed, even easier, right? And you don't have that doubt in the back of your mind. But if you're not diagnosed and you've been reading and at it and figuring it out, like in a really good faith way, this is what I'm dealing with, then maybe start rethinking about things you thought you couldn't find any enjoyment in or anything like that through the lens of understanding what was in the way to begin with. And find something to hang on to, guys, even if it's just a little blade of grass. Yeah, but that's the thing. If you grab a blade of grass, you might be able to grab another, and then you got to hold, your grip on the dirt. And you start digging through the dirt, and you start finding some stuff that you're like, oh shit, this thing that I just always assumed was something I gave up on that meant nothing to me, or that I kind of like rationalized or intellectualized myself out of in the past, or was too anhedonic or didn't complete due to my evolution. Now that I know and I'm working on what the fuck that is that's stopping me, maybe retrying again is something worthwhile. Maybe trying again with that knowledge, it might change something. Right? Especially after working with that knowledge, doing something about that knowledge. So yeah, when you find out, hey, schizoid, that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I'm struggling with. I'm a schizoid. That's not the end. That's the beginning of that fucking journey. That's the very beginning of you attempting to finally rekindle who it is you are and how you can interact with the world in the way that makes sense to you. I'm not saying you have to be some fucking normie. All right. Wonder if you bros watch some. Oh, all right, Withers. You guys read what Withers writes. He likes to drop non sequiturs. So, let's see. Okay, yeah, you guys talk. I'm not gonna look at the chat. I'm just gonna focus on my ramble here. Which, you know, it feels important to me, but it might be just me, you know, huffing bullshit, my own farts or something. But it is step one, right? That's it. And if you go to the Schizoid survey and you start feeling like, well, this place is safe, this place is good, this place, I feel comfortable here. That space, that room is so you can start exploring regions of yourself you previously thought didn't matter, were lost, never existed. The goal is for you to be able to safely explore that and then take that eventually to slightly less safe environments. Because that's all about starting to create your own boundaries, setting your boundaries with people and all that kind of shit. And then being able to start sort of carving your existence into the external world in a way that feels egocentric for you. Not for everybody else, not for society, but something that you can carve out within that framework that you essentially have to live through. I mean, right, you can just bury your fucking head and see how far that gets you. But it's trying to parse out the reality of, I live in a world that's confusing, it doesn't make sense to me, I don't really understand what people want all the time, and then going, that doesn't mean I have to resign myself to a life, to no life, to nothing, no pleasure, no meaning, no enjoyment, just void, just getting by, waiting till the day I fucking die. That is not how you have to live. Now, if you choose to live that way, I will not tell you what to do with your life. Autonomy be praised, autonomy be holy, right? But I'm going to tell you that my opinion is that that's a really bad fucking idea. And you're going to live to regret it one day. That's my thought. I'm averse to meds. Even I had an official, right, it says, I'd be afraid I'd dissociate more history and not be able to access my... You know what's really interesting? I want to know, what's really interesting with medication is there are medications that can make you feel more dissociated, but there are other medications that could help you feel more grounded in your body, right? Which might be terrifying, but might be what some of us need. That's why certain types of things, like, for example, people that do... they're more experimental, but people that do, like, shit, what's that stuff called? That a lot of doctors, hallucinogen, not hallucinogen, you know what I mean, fucking, oh my god, I can't even remember what it's called. The one that a lot of people, ketamine, there we go, ketamine. So there's some people that they do ketamine and it's like, it makes shit worse for them, because ketamine tends to have a more disassociative effect on you, right? And if you're already fucked up from disassociation, I don't know, maybe that'll probably have be a bad time, right? Enthogens, thank you. I didn't know that's what they were called, but if that is, then thank you. But maybe what you need is something that can help ground you in the present more, help reduce the dissociative set of effects of whatever you're dealing with, right? And it's different for every schizoid out there. So different. Just like there's schizoids out there that are more on the schizo side of things, like me, with the kind of maybe a little more dissociative, maybe more macro thinking, macro associative, maybe more like, you know, thinking all these like meta ways and like really intuitive, maybe a little more autistic, right? But nonetheless, what they need, the type of medication, the type of therapy, what they need to work on, it's going to differ greatly depending on that person's internal workings, trauma, and everything else. Even if they behave or adapted with all this fucking difficulty, right, by developing these schizoid adaptations. Having schizoid adaptations and having schizoid personality disorder does not identify how to help you. It identifies the framework in which to start an individual process of helping you. right? That's all it does, right? Even if they developed a much better, and there are ways to develop a much better therapy form or practice to help the schizoid, it's ultimately still going to come down to an individualized sort of therapy, coaching, whatever you want to call it, based on the experiences of that person, who they are in relation to the external world, and that kind of shit, right? And I know some of you might be really into like other ego death and all this other stuff, right? Okay, fine, that's cool. I'm not a fan of it, but that's cool. But figuring this kind of shit out will still help you do that better too, because then you know your enemy. No, but you know what I mean, right? So anyway, so don't philosophize, intellectualize, rationalize your way out of being able to start figuring out who the fuck you are, what the fuck you're about, and what matters to you, right? And that it's not just trapped in your mind. It's not just in some fucking fantasy world. It doesn't have to be that way. There are steps you can take, as futile as they may seem. Now, if your goal is grandiose, like I want to rule the world, then you're probably not assuming you got some other shit going on. Or I'm going to be sad until the day I can like cast spells and fly around like Superman. Okay, man, like that's probably not going to happen, right? But think about it. All having access to more stuff like that, even in your fantasy, well, if you strip it all down, there's ultimately a core set of ethics and morality that resonate with you, that matter to you. Now, the emotion tied to it might not be very strong, or maybe it is, but just internally, and you can't like push it out. It depends on the person, whatever. But it's there. Like I've said in the past, if you have ethics and you stick to them, if you have principles of some kind that you stick to, that makes sense to you, even though you're doing this in this like aloof, like, yes, that is logical, and that's what makes the most sense. It's still, you're emotionally attached to it, even if you don't realize it. Let's see here. You might find therapist author Gabor Mate interesting. Yes. Similar view about the current world itself being well adapted to human happiness rather than the normal reverse view. Oh yeah, for sure. Like the world as it stands right now, it's already like super unhealthy for even like people that aren't schizoids. Regular old like people with like, I don't know, secure attachment styles and all this shit. Like it's still this world's like poop a lot. That's why it's humanity's job to make it less poop. And that's why you do shit. You fucking activate yourself so that you make it less poop. Right? But as far as for the Zoid, start with fixing what the fuck's going on there before you like hyperfixate on like what's wrong with the whole world, right? Because until you figure out how your internal self can be built up and how it could eventually interact with the external world in a more assertive way, in a more boundary creating way, you're always just going to be thinking about how bad everything is and how much better it could be if everything wasn't so bad, and how much more comfortable you would be if everything wasn't so bad, and, or there's no reason to get better because everything is so bad. Stop that shit. We got a lot of shit and not enough pipes. That's funny. But yeah, it you need to find that thing, right, about you that you can drive you to the external world. And it's there. Everyone has it. Even if you don't think it exists, it's there. And I'm talking about hopefully something relatively like, not like, when I say pro-social, I mean like not destructive of innocent lives or other people's autonomy. If that's your goal, fuck you. Go eat a dick. And you're probably not a schizoid, I'll be honest. Don't start with this, I have schizoid traits, but I still like don't respect anyone else's autonomy. And look, I know this is going to be a hot take, but any schizoid that doesn't give a fuck about autonomy as a concept, not just like for them and them only, I I'd say go look into a different department. I'm not saying schizoids are standing around going like being the most selfless, most benevolent, charitable people on earth. But when it comes to autonomy, schizoids are not just sensitive to their autonomy. They're just sensitive to autonomy. They don't even like seeing other things have their autonomy stripped away from them. Like, why do you... it's not surprising that there's a lot of schizoids that love animals, right? Because animals are like creatures that have their autonomy stripped of them constantly by the human world, right? Downtrodden underdogs, marginalized groups. Oh yeah, even the most depressed schizoid will be like, yeah, that shit's wrong and the world's fucked and why can't people just like do this and that, like, and all this stuff, right? Right? And so they'll have all this sort of thinking about it, but then they get like overwhelmed by it and they never bother finding what parts of themselves are actually emotionally attached to those sensitivities and what parts of themselves they could build up in order to defend the autonomy of things around them that they care about. I'm not saying you're going to fight the whole fucking world, but if you give a fuck about cats a lot, I don't know why, but a lot of zoids like cats. It makes sense why schizoids like cats. Zoids, people that have these issues tend to be more cat-like in the whole like self-sufficiency, autonomy. Cats love their autonomy, 100% autonomy lovers. So that's probably like what's relatable. But point is, if you love cats and you don't like how people treat cats, okay, figure out the parts about yourself that gives a fuck about cats and then do something to help some cats or an animal shelter or whatever. Oh, I don't have I get it. Oh, I got this void. But you love cats. You care about cats. There's something there. It's not just, oh, I like cats. There's something about you that makes you like cats and not want to see a cat have its autonomy stripped away from it. Why? If you're a person, a schizoid that really appreciates cats, you see somebody mistreat or you see somebody do a really shitty job of taking care of their cat, even though they think they're doing a good job, right? Like the pet havers that like do the shit that the pet hates, but they're like just ignorant about the fact that the fucking cat hates it, and then you go like, "What? Stop doing that. That's stupid." Educate people on how to do it right. Don't just get mad at the screen. Start talking about it. Do it. Growing up, my fantasy or who I wanted to be was always a cowboy, free alone type shit. But the closer I've gotten to that, the more I realize it separates from the fantasy, and I know me less as a result. Yeah, that's exactly right. Dude, I can't tell you how many times in my 20s I used to fantasize about, oh, I wish I was born another time. Cats are just adorable and hilarious. What can I say? Well, yeah, cats are adorable and hilarious. So protect them. If they are like in your top 3 things that you fucking give a fuck about, do something about it. And through the process of doing something about it, actually doing something positive, constructive, not destructive, constructive, and the ethical principles that you manage to piece together with your cognitive empathy and your often lack of effective empathy, it feels like. Build off of it. You will be surprised over time. That effective empathy will start cropping its head. It's gonna be tough because feeling shit stronger, but I'm telling you, I spend more money on dog food than people with 30-gallon bowls. Active Bro can always supplement their diet with. I never thought about this cat connection. Cats are the best. Yeah, I know. I love schizoids like cats. I think about why you like cats. I was talking to my good buddy Era, and he's a fucking staunch animal lover, but he loves himself cats. And we were talking about like, why is it so many zoids like cats? It's not just because they're cute. A lot of schizoids don't like cats just because, oh, cats are cute. And that's it, end all. No. They love the autonomy and self-sufficiency of a cat. Right? They see a cat, it's walking around, I'm doing my own thing. If I want cuddles, I'll ask for them. If I want food, I'll meow. If I want to go outside, I'm leaving. When I feel like coming back, I will. Right? Oh, you want to touch me? Not right now. Maybe later. But then when they do their little eyes, their little blink, that means you can go pet them and stuff. That's cool. Because it's like consent and autonomy, right? Cats are cool like that. Now, dogs, they love their autonomy, but their autonomy is very much extends to their owner, right? In a much more permeable boundary sort of way compared to like a cat who has a hard boundary, right? Cats have much harder boundaries. Don't touch me unless I want you to. Don't even stare at me. Why are you staring at me? Cats do not like being stared at. They don't like being stared at. There's like obvious natural instinctual reasons for it, but does it remind you of anyone? Do you like being stared at? Do you like being perceived all the time? Do you like being scrutinized? Do you like people assuming what you want without you asking for it? Fuck no. That's my theory as to why so many schizoids like cats. I respect cats. I think cats are really cool. I am a dog person, but that's only because like I like to play, and I like the energy a dog has. I just like it's the ADHD-ness of dogs that I think I like, when like the kind of you know, they're all goofy and shit. They're all like goofy and funny. Earlier today, I saw videos of like 20 cat-dog interactions. Cat's like fucking like a fifth of the size of the dog, right? That dog could like wreck it, right? If it gets cornered or whatever. Cat just goes, and then goes, and like run away and shit. All the cat was just, that's all it did. Dog, it's so funny. It's good. They're just adorable, man. Cat didn't even scratch him. He made a hiss sound. Dog got fucking terrified. He's like fucking gentle giants, right? But what's interesting about a dog, right? Gentle giant or not? Guess what happens if that dog loves you and they see someone trying to fucking hurt you? Guess what that dog's doing? That dog's gonna dog. I'm not saying cats will defend their owners, because I mean, but it'll be more because of like, hey, that's my human. Right? Hey, you're fucking with my human. I'm not saying it's all that, but you know what I mean. There's a little bit more of that. Even if like maybe it'd be like in that aloof way, right? Hey, don't fuck with my human that I care about. Don't fuck with my human that I care about. I mean, people really underestimate the complexity of animal emotions. They can feel love. It's not just a bunch of fucking resource accumulating, fucking weird, naturalistic fallacy nonsense. Get into your dreams, Legion. If you have them, remember them. Yeah, there you go. Fuck yeah. Look at this chat. Fuck yeah. Curiously enough, like dogs more, and I think my subconscious has something to do with it. I don't mind being available to people in a sense, but close connections are another thing. Okay. Maybe feeling useful, feeling productive, like you're getting shit done, even if it's not emotional, is something that resonates with you. Right? Like in my case, it took me a long time. It took me like 3 years plus of doing this, talking about it. Even if in my old streams when I was advocating, I'd be like, I just want to get shit done, you know, this and this and that. It's just because somebody's got to do it and all this sort of shit. And yeah, I really did believe it when I was saying it. But now I go, no, I like helping people. I like helping people. I like helping people that have similar issues to me. I like helping people that are younger that have similar issues to me so they don't take so long to figure some of this stuff out. I I like seeing problems and calling them out. I like hearing people tell me problems and calling them out, disagreeing with me, and then working out kind of collaborative like discussions. You know, all good. I love good faith conversation. I fucking hate bad faith bullshit. Like my emotions are tight with it because I'm understanding it. Right? Dude, look. I might have all this stuff I'm talking about, and you know, I'm getting so much better at. And it's been hell because I had to figure a lot of the stuff out by myself because there's not a lot out there. And like I've said before, I want to be one of the things that could help you go, oh, look, that guy figured out using this stuff. Be thinking about things this way or that way. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And if it helps more people, then fucking great. Why would I care about getting into my inner dreams? So that you could externalize them, Legion. Externalizing who you are. Because there are things out there that you can shape. People out there you can connect to. Even if there's very, very few. And you can connect to them on the basis of mutual respect for each other's autonomy, time, and having an understanding of boundaries. And that your boundaries are not inhuman, crazy, awful, make you a bad person, like maybe people in the past have told you. Why aren't you around your family more? Because you keep wanting me around you more. And now I feel like it's a demand. If I wanted to be around you, I would. Why do you need me to be around you? There are more people in this world. The demand you're placing on me, it's just, and I'm not getting much of a reward from being around you. So I'm not going to. Wow. Wow. What a thought. Right? And then finding somebody that goes, hey, I have similar problems. I have similar strong boundaries. It's like, oh, me too. Let's talk about those strong boundaries without crossing them. Wow. Those conversations could lead to some interesting revelations. Some of those revelations are, hey, wait a minute. Some of this is because I have trauma. And some of this is just because I have this kind of predilection and I'm highly introverted. And I have, maybe I'm neurodivergent in a certain way or another. And so I need people that kind of vibe in these sorts of ways. They have a stronger sense of protecting their autonomy. And those people, ironically, you'll end up feeling more comfortable to sort of, be like, hey, I can give a little myself to them. And they're going to give a little of themselves to me. But we know where the boundaries are. We know where the borders are. We know what the limits are. And we won't explore beyond those limits unless it's a consensual, mutual situation. Right? That stuff is fucking doable. It's possible. Like here, let me give you guys a fun example about my own life, right? I'm only going to go on for a little bit longer here. And I don't know if I went off the rails, but I'm trying to kind of separate like who you are internally, how you can externalize some of it, even though I'm rambling, and how being a schizoid isn't a death sentence. It isn't a way of life. Being a schizoid is not a way of life. It is something that you deal with and manage, and your goal is to dig up who and what you are in regards to the external world around the rubble that is some of these schizoid issues. Now, some of your adaptations might have shaped parts of your personality. Those might be set. That's fine. But find the most egocentric parts of it and get rid of all the egocentric bullshit. But anyway. Oh, I had one last major thing I wanted to point out before you guys leave and shit. What was it? It was a band. No, hold on. It's in the chat. No. I lost track. No, this was good. Fuck. Oh yeah, my example, my life stuff. Okay, here. So you guys probably see me and go, man, what's this weird schizoid that he he streams and there's like a bunch of people perceiving him and watching him and like uh, what else? He's interacting with people. Oh, look, he's well, I'm not very good at it, but he can communicate his ideas and isn't worried about being engulfed by the people that watch his stream. Right? Okay, fine. Here. Well, one, I'm never going to be engulfed by you guys because I'm not going to let you anywhere near me as much as I'm going to allow it. If it's like on a I'm coaching you level, that's fine. I can do that. But as far as like who I am, I'll share it on here, but I won't share it with any of you individually unless you're that person that I established those boundaries with and I was able to get close in a way that they were also able to do because they have a similar sort of disposition. Right? And I have a handful of friends now that I can count on one hand that I care about and I feel deeply about. Right? That wasn't something I had a long time, I'll tell you that. And this isn't including my wife and kids. That's a whole different part. But I'm not going out being social. I'm still very much. You guys see me on here on stream, dude. You know what I do all week? I'm just doing I do remote work. I do that shit all day. Right? Most of my social time is spent with my kids, my wife, and her surrounding family, which, is fine. Things like that. Do I have any, now that I'm finding myself, right? Do I have any inclination to go out and party? To go out and like, fraternize with strangers? Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Never. It just doesn't, it's not something, like, if you want to send me somewhere where there's going to be cool shit, now I'll go, I want to go, and I'll go. If there's people there, that's fine. They don't bother me. And if they start to, I'll tell them, hey, don't feel like talking. Or, hey, I'm a quiet guy, a little introvert. Rather keep to myself. Oh, that's nice. Me and my fam are just going to go this way. Or my wife will introduce me to somebody she's meets. She's more, she's still a bit of an introvert, but she's not a zoid. And so she'll be like, oh, this is my husband. And I'll be like, hey, yes, I am. And if they try to shake my hand or like, or they're really friendly and they try like to hug me, and it's like one of those people that like they like hugging you day one, or trying to like touch you in some way day one, I make it clear. I go, not my thing. I say it. Not my thing. Not my thing. I understand your thing. That's fine. Not my thing. If they get mad, they get upset, fuck them. You weren't rude. You just told them what your boundaries are. That's it. Right? If it's a situation where like it's a boss or an interview, you just go, this is just social contract. They want to get closer and you're like, nope. You say no. That's it. Exactly, Winter. I know what my boundaries are. I understand what is me and what is just my adaptations and aversions, right? For example, listen here, if I meet a sincere person, an honest, sincere person, good faith person, that I say like, hey, these are my boundaries, and they respect those boundaries, and they don't try to like become my friend. They don't try to enforce like social shit that is really required to enforce. That maybe if they enforce on someone else, that other person, it would make sense to them, but on me, it's just like, okay, I'm just trying to do my job here. Like, well, what are you on about? Like, what is this? If that person is all those things, they're sincere and they respect, and I respect their boundaries, they respect my autonomy, I respect. You'd be surprised organically over time. It's like, this is a cool person, right? This is a cool person. And the aversion part is where you start feeling this is a cool person, but it's pointless. It's a waste of time. No one understands what I have to say. It'll just turn into them having all these emotional expectations that I can't meet. So I'm just not going to bother. That's the aversion. That's the disorder, if you will. That's a big difference. You need to be able to parse out what are my boundaries about who I am and what I'm comfortable with, and what is something that just my brain is doing because of the traumas that I've endured. BTI, yeah. Yeah, like recently, like I was saying really quick because I gotta end it. But like I'm feeling like I still don't feel comfortable saying happier because it's weird. I've been feeling more fulfilled with certain things. I've been feeling more fulfilled with this work, doing the streams now, especially now that I stopped giving a fuck about like being less angry, so that other people would see my channel and be like, "Oh, a psychologist," would be like, "Oh, they're pretty nice." Like, I just don't care. I'm just gonna be like myself and honest. I'm not gonna be rude. Well, I'm only rude. See, that's the thing. I'm only rude to people that are rude. I'll be rude to an asshole, but or just disingenuous. But I can separate that now. I can understand those differences. So then I can establish a human connection with people, even if it's not like a super deep one, right? Let's just say I meet somebody, they're really fine. We just don't have mutual interests, but they're a good person, and what they say, they mean it. They're not dishonest or manipulative. They're not playing weird, like, unfair social games. They're just playing the fair ones that normal people are used to. But they're not a bad meaning person. They're a well-meaning person, and they're the type of person that gets new information and grows from it. Right? Let's say we're not that compatible. We just don't have the same interests. Blah 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 blah. Different, world views on certain things. Just not vibing. Instead of feeling all negative about them, we're all just like, they're all the same. It's all shit. I feel like that's a cool person, and I can respect and appreciate them. That's as far as it'll go, though. That's as far as that's gonna go. You know what I mean? That's it. Aren't I medicated though? This guy. You're gonna bust that one out? Okay, check this out. I've been medicated for like 12, 13, I don't even know how many years. Well over a decade. I've been like 15 years I've been medicated. I didn't start figuring this shit out until like 3 years ago, and I'm still working at it. Like, it took a long time, man. All medication did a bajillion years. All medication did for me when I was still void lost and just still dealing with this shit internally was help me stop my panic attacks and make it so I can get up in the morning and go to work and just tolerate. That's all medication. That's it. Medication did not fucking do the immense amount of work that I've done on myself in the last few years. I was fucking dreaming it, waking up thinking about it, going to bed, at work thinking about it, just thinking, Zoid, like just Zoid shit constantly. Thinking, what is this? What does it mean? How does this apply? How can I explain this? What are the mechanisms here? What could work? What could not work? What should be looked at more when you're discussing this topic? And all the neurodivergency stuff that I've gone over and over, and I see constant, circumstantial evidence of it popping up or whatever, qualitative information that I don't have the brains or the capacity to quantitate. So I'm hoping for some Zoid researchers, which there are a few. There's one channel, by the way, on the server that has this person that sometimes dips in, and they've been working on a quantitative type thing. It's pretty cool stuff. But in any case, well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with um, that's why over time you do have to up the dose a little bit. But I'll tell you right now, the stuff I've discovered, the shit I've uncovered, reconnecting with who the fuck I am internally, that's helped me more than any goddamn medication ever has. More than any medication ever has. Medication just took the edge off. Like, it's kind of hard to do this kind of work if you're having panic attacks or your depression's so crippling that you can't even get out of bed. Yeah, it's going to make it a little tough. But you don't even want to eat. Right? See, I don't get that. I can never even care enough about anything to feel panic or depression. Is it just that some schizoids are just different from the rest? Well, see, this is what's interesting. You might not have those issues. Mine were all existential. All my like depression and anxiety was all existential shit. Mortality, existential stuff, meaning of self, having a feeling of no meaning. Does anything even have meaning to me? That would send me into like spirals and shit like that. Questioning my own sanity, stuff like that. Um, but as far as like you don't care enough about feeling panic or depression, um, the question I have for the Zoids that feel that way, I always wonder, something's still wrong though, right? Because otherwise, why would you be here, right? Why would you care to listen about this? Why would you would just go about your life perfectly content with the situation, but maybe contentment is missing, right? Maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe no panic or no depression really, but there's no contentment, just an empty hole, just moving along again and again. And you know what's funny is that, well, not funny, but even without this depression, this very sorrowful emotional depression, because mine was more like a void depression. It wasn't really like I wasn't crying all the time. I wasn't like sobbing. My depression wasn't making me cry. My depression was just making me feel like, just like, why am I alive? That's what my depression was doing. Why am I alive? What is this? That's what my depression was doing. I wasn't like emotionally crying and falling apart all the time. No. It was like, I don't even enjoy things all that much. And when I do, it always goes away. What's the point? And then that would make me just feel like, I remember those feelings. But that's kind of what I'm saying. So it isn't always like anxiety attacks and like crying, sobbing type depression. It's emptiness. There's Zoids out there that have done, you know, took that, went on the last bus stop, took their last bus to town, or whatever you want to call it, killed themselves over this. Why would they do that? Why would they? They weren't depressed. They weren't anxious, right? Why? Why would they go eat pavement then? If they weren't crying and emotionally sad or really anxious and scared all the time, why would they do that if they just feel neutral and empty all the time? Because something in there knows. That inner child, whatever you want to call it, knows. This fucking sucks. This is no way to live. And the older you get, the more it catches up to you. Well then, good for you, Legion. I don't know. Maybe you got some. I don't know. Like if you're content with that, dude, more power to you. I sure as shit ain't, and I know a lot of schizoids aren't. You're fine with it. Like you don't like you don't have no FOMO whatsoever about like having some sense of meaning, and then feeling like that sense of meaning and good about that, about it existing or whatever. Like if you got no FOMO, you're good. Yeah, you got clinically diagnosed with OCPD and schizoid. All right. See, like I said, it still comes down to the individual, right? If you get this diagnosis or you know this about yourself and you're like, that's fine. I don't know how old you are, Legion, but uh, I know that'll eat at some people as they get older, and it stops being fine, or it stops being even or neutral. Or you got old enough to where you just kind of like that's just where you're gonna be, and you kind of just I'm there forever, right? But if you have no, if it doesn't feel, if nothing about existing feels like aversive or severely like if feeling like an alien and just observing everything is just fine, and you're not hurting a bunch of people in the process, uh yeah, I guess more power to you. I don't think most schizoids are like that though. I think most of them just they gave up on the idea of human connection in many ways because of how alien they feel. But it's still something that bothers them somewhere in there. There might be times, or most of the time, might feel just like, huh, fine, it is what it is. But there are those times where it bites you in the ass and things get rough. Things get real fast. But hey, no, not at all. And maybe because I was raised since I was a kid believing Jesus Christ and God, I just trust in Him and give my shortcomings to Him and just trying to be a good person. I'm 43. Oh, cool! You found human connection through God. Oh, okay, so that's fine. Now all of us can do that one. What's really interesting is that like finding human connection through like some kind of deity or something. It's just yeah. What if it works for you, man? Jesus Christ was a person. That's fine. Being married caused the most issues though. Why'd you get married? Curious, like legitimately curious. Why did you get married? Was it like are you live in a country where they have like arranged marriages or something? Like what was the point of getting married for you? Was it just convenience or like just more like economically viable? If that's the case, I certainly hope they felt the same because that's fucked up for them. That was your only reason. That's like hella fucked up. That makes birds feel like there's some pet or some shit. Oh no, that's bullshit. 'Cause pets are part of the family. But you know what I mean. Like they're just an object that's just there for convenience. I certainly hope that's not what you're going for. Any Zoids out there, if you're in a relationship like that, you're fucking up. Real fucking bad. Real fucking bad. Like hella bad. I've been in like quote unquote friendships like that. They seem fine. I'm fine. They leave me alone. They seem okay. They seem to be enjoying themselves. And it doesn't matter if I'm detached. They're tolerable. They seem happy. Who cares what I think? It's fine. For a long time, I had this idea that I was supposed to get married, have kids, and have a home. I thought that was the purpose of life, but when I had these things, I never felt different. Yeah, because that's not what you wanted, probably. Those are probably not the things you wanted. I don't know what they might be. Maybe you still got them buried somewhere. But that was the shit you thought you wanted. I tried those routes. I just got lucky. Found the right lady. No, yeah, it's not your fault. I'm not saying, oh, you're a fucking asshole. Well, now that you realized it, right? I'm sure you've owned up to the damage that's caused. Right. And I certainly hope you find a way to feel some remorse. I hope you're not so detached from people that you have absolutely no remorse. Yeah, no, for sure. Like you thought that, but now you know that's not the case. So, yeah, right. That doesn't like that doesn't like what's the word? That doesn't absolve a person of the damage they might have caused. That just means that you understand it now, and so that you can talk about it. And you can make well, that's good, Legion. We all make choices that we don't know outcome until later, such as life. That's true. We have to live with those outcomes, right? And we still have to sort of face them, understand them, and do what's right by the people we did them to. Doesn't matter. All that context should be kept in mind for your own sense of self, your own self forgiveness, your own other stuff. Hopefully, the person you might have done those things because of this stuff. I'm not talking about you specifically, I'm just talking in general when it comes to stuff like PDs or whatever, mental illness and things like that. Hopefully, they understand well enough to forgive you. So, but you still got work to do. It's not just sorry, sorry, I was traumatized. Sorry about that. Sorry. I was just like, I don't know, my brain don't work. Sorry. Womp womp. Right? That's not how that works. I certainly think that. And I do my best to always be attentive to her to make her life as best as I can. I just will never be able to give her real emotion. Based. Respect, Legion. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's good shit. But see how interesting? You have that code, right? You have some kind of ethical code there. You have some kind of moral code. Morality and ethics does not stem from just intellectualization. This isn't just you going like, yes, indeed, this is the correct path. I doubt that's how you. There are feelings there. Ethical systems, principles, even deranged ones, come from emotional attachments of some kind. Emotional underpinnings. They don't just come out of the ether or through intellectualization alone. Unless your ethical system is literally like efficiency, 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 fucking, or utilitarian, utilitarian at any cost, utilitarian, production, production. Then in that case, maybe you got very fucking emotional attachment there. I found with a lot of schizoids, like, not being, there's a difference between not feeling what those are and the choice of like not working on figuring that out, making that decision for yourself, and then the people that deny outright that that's the case, deny outright there is no emotional connection to my ethics and principles. That's cope. That's cope. The real decision is, do I want to do anything about it? Because it is the case. So that's the decision ultimately. Hey, you said you were 41. Did you just turn 41? That's fine. I just turned 41. People get mad when I say all immorality is just emotivism. I disagree with that. I'm denying. You know what's really crazy? Man, I gotta go. Saren, you know what's really crazy? I'm starting to go, and before, yes, I do. I would die before hurting anyone else or making anyone's intention worse. If I realize that I do, and I apologize and change it. Dude, you're a fucking emotional being. You're a fucking emotional being. Those things, there's something there that you can decide if you want to find or not, or want to do something about. There's something to construct there. the beginnings of something. That's all I'm saying. The emotivism thing, I or even like what is it? Like everything is subjective. I've been, that whole route. I've been having some weird. It might be a mixture of like some of my like gnostic stuff and me finding parts of myself, and then on top of that, like I've been like looking into, and this is gonna make probably Sarah and jump out of their skin, but I've been looking into like a little bit more into like the ideas of what's it called? Um, and no, I'm not talking about like really like weird, stupid, dogmatic crap. I'm talking about like the question of objective good and evil, and how observation can actually help you ascertain some level of objectivity for it. It's really interesting. Um, through one of the, I guess one of the quick ones that I could say that always was interesting to me. Yeah, you can argue ad infinitum, but the one that was interesting to me that I was just thinking about on my own because I was trying to piece together. I was like, why is it that if you have some sick fuck that likes to hurt other things, right? Because it makes them feel good, and they can observe that thing is being hurt. They can observe it's in pain. Why is it that that same person, if put in the same situation, will also beg for their lives or beg to not be hurt? Why is it universally bad to be tortured by even the most sadistic human beings when it's happening to them? Because it's bad. Um, even if they but anyway, that's just like a really minimized. It's so much more complicated. I could talk for hours about it. But in any case, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for this, showing up. If you like the stream, if this like made you feel like, oh shit, thanks, bud, or any of that stuff, or like something clicked, or I don't know, made you feel even for a few microseconds a little pep in your step, please support me on Patreon. Please support me on PayPal. All that shit helps. I work full time. I have kids. I live in California. Cost of living is wild. Everyone just tells me to move. I can't do that for a lot of reasons that I'm not going to get into. And any help I get is really appreciated. All right. Anyway, guys, as usual, when day is dark, always remember, get fucking mad.